Hello, welcome to another tutorial video. This time we're going to be looking at the examiner's comments, the chief examiner's comments for the question paper, the exam paper for the last 2 years. The reason we're going to do this is because the chief examiner compiles a report and says how well the exam went, how well the students did. So if there was anyone who would be able to give us some insight into what people are generally doing right or people are generally doing wrong, which we can learn from, it's going to be that person. So here I've got what they've put. I'm going to read through it and then we're going to try and summarize what's been put. So we've got the questions here just to frame a reference in case you can get hold of one of these exams, etc. But moreover, it's just there because it's going to be referencing the key points, and also I've put it up with this highlights just so it's reinforced when we read through it. So we're looking here at the retrieval of the key points. So question 1 was generally well answered. Most candidates were able to provide a summary of what they'd learned from the text source to secure a mark in band 3. So that means most people managed to get to at least C level with it. That's what we'd expect. It's quite a straightforward question. There was often a clear attempt to go beyond simple retrieval and make interpretations of the text, for example, deducing in the candidate's own words some of the writer's feelings or making connections between events, such as noting the benefits of being with different kinds of people. Such aspects of these, which are noted in the mark scheme, are as much a part of what is learned from the text as various events and experiences reported by the writer. So what they're telling us in that bit is we should build upon retrieving the key points. So once we've retrieved the key points, then we can make inferences and deductions as to what that means on top of that, and that's what's going to get us into the perceptive category and looking into it with more depth and more detail. Inference, comments and connections are features the candidate should be aware of whilst demonstrating a detailed understanding of and engagement with the text. The question did not require analysis of language techniques employed by the writer, and candidates who offered this would have benefited from understanding the specific skills being tested by the question. So that's again telling us to focus solely on what it is, not to be slapdash and just try and write whatever we want. Let's make sure we answer the question and make sure we know exactly what question it is we're answering. And so, as we said before, question 1's always going to be about retrieving key points. Okay, so we look at the second, the response to the most recent one. Most candidates were able to achieve marks at least to the bottom of band 3. Candidates generally showed an ability to infer points from the text and so demonstrate higher order reading skills. The discriminator seemed to be in recognising there was a counter argument in favour of renewable energy such as wind farms. So what the chief examiner is telling us there is that there was a watershed between people who were able to understand the pick up on the counter argument and perhaps understand, and those who did not. And he says that that was actually a very clear discriminator, set groups of candidates apart as those who did understand and those who did not. A surprising number of otherwise able candidates appeared to miss this, and a small minority of candidates discussed the effects of language in the source, which was not asked for. However, in doing so, they were able to coincidentally gain marks. Now, just because that says they could coincidentally gain marks doesn't mean that's what you actually try and do. Basically, what it means is that when they were analysing the language, they would have touched upon, incidentally, retrieval points, and that's why they got marks. They didn't get marks for writing language. It's just that while they were writing, they would have accidentally touched upon retrieval points, which would have got the marks. And remember, the examiners are on your side. They do want to give you marks, but that's not the way to try and go about them. I would say that those students are obviously lucky, but obviously they wrote properly. So they put the right elements. They put the elements of the right thing in, even though they were answering with the wrong thing. Focusing on the wrong thing. Candidates need to understand what the question is asking them. They should read the source fully for nuances. That just basically means details and levels of meaning, and understand that inferring meaning from a text is incorporated in what can be learned from it. Right, so with that last part, what's worth taking definitely is understand that inferring meaning from a text is incorporated in what can be learned from it. So what you infer is just as much a part of what you retrieve for this question. So after you've retrieved things, look at what you've retrieved and see what you can infer from it after that, or what's inferred by making connections. Make those connections, etc., to try and give yourself the chance of the best possible grade. So the tips, we can sum this up as going beyond retrieval, not to analyse the language, making sure we know what kind of what question it is, so we're focusing on retrieval, and focus on any counter arguments and different levels that might come up. So hopefully that was useful in actually just looking at it. And again, like, this is the highest authority, as it were. This is the person he's collecting everything that any of the other examiners have said, and he's putting it into the most concise format for us. So there's a lot to learn from this.